So, as we all know, women in the US has started to gain some freedom during the 1920s. Historically, we know this as the Roaring Twenties. It marked the beginning of opportunities for women to work and learn alongside men, with other significant freedoms included. It was an exciting time to be a woman, especially because even though it wasn't perfect, it was considered progress. Now, imagine if that certain freedom wasn't the same for other women because of strict beliefs and physical threats because of their gender. This is gender based violence, and it is very common in Mexico till this day. The belief of gender based violence puts women in a hole of submissive beliefs, and ultimately, when a woman does try to achieve personal success or a belief above her husband's, she's often threatened and underestimated because of it. So today, I want to inform people on the strong beliefs against women expanding beyond housewives and how that can result in violent harms and women being trapped in cycles of obedience. This information can be understood more clearly through basic information, real life examples, but even more through numbers. So, while many people understand what gender inequality is and how it affects women, it's actually one of the biggest contenders towards gender-based violence. So, to get a better understanding, what is gender-based violence? Gender-based violence is the harm or abuse on a person due to their gender, gender identity, and the way that they're supposed to behave in society. Mexico is widely known for the harm and of gender-based violence, and it represents a social crisis, especially in its most extreme form. According to an article published in 2025 by Edgar Luna titled Machismo, Marianismo, and the Rising Falls of Femicides in Mexico, over the past decades, there has been an increase in sexual assault, domestic violence, and disappearances, as well as femicides in Mexico. This has entrenched the patterns of sexism, inequity, and impunity. This leads me to my next point. What is femicides? Femicides are the intentional killings of women or girls because of their gender, often rooted in sexism, inequality, and power imbalances, as well as harmful social norms. They are considered an extreme form of gender-based violence. Even described by an article published by the Wilson Center, published in 2023, titled Beyond Collateral Damage, Femicides, Disappearances, and Trends and New Trends in Gender-Based Violence in Mexico. In this article, it states that over the past decade, rising femicide rates and increasing deadly violence against women has placed Mexico at the center of national and international concern. So, while we have learned a little bit about gender-based violence as well as the femicides in Mexico, I would also like to give an example of how we see this is in over the past years. So, I will show an example of gender-based violence and femicides through the story of Valeria Marquez. Valeria Marquez was a 23-year-old woman, salon owner as well as social media influencer. One day, during a TikTok live, in her salon in Zapopan, Jalisco, she was shot to death, and within hours of the clip of her death, it would become viral and she would make headlines. Using the same article from Edgar Luna, published in 2025, Marquez was then accused of inviting the violence. So, what was supposed to be seen as a time of tragedy and sadness was instead criticized with victim blaming and it being provoked. Gender-based violence, as we've seen through this example and its definition, is there to cause a dominance between two groups. And we see this through the persistence of femicide and the public's reaction to it. So now that we've seen some of the negatives that come from gender-based violence and specifically through femicides and their examples, let's look at it from a numeric point of view. In the statistics shown, we will see that there has been a peak in 2019 from 2022, with the highest rate reaching 1.51 victims per 100,000 women in 2019. On the website where this information can be found, published in 2026 by the Statista Research Department, just ranking below Brazil, Mexico has become one of the second highest nations for femicides in Latin America. This is an indicator that just beyond femicides, they happen because of a power imbalance that affects the way they work, see themselves, and each other through pride set through gender expectations. So, in conclusion, Mexico's deeply rooted beliefs like machismo and marianismo continue to reinforce gender inequality, contributing to gender-based violence in its most extremist form. Femicides, as seen through real-life examples and statistical data, overall examine how gender-based violence in this context highlights societal expectations and public responses and how they all play a role in sustaining these issues over time.